Hi, this is Laura Staley, and I'm back with another video. Today's video is on why you should think about learning Excel functions and formulas if you haven't already. I have found in my training career that there are a lot of people who are just intimidated by the thought of Excel formulas and functions. And when I've suggested that they learn them, they look like, oh no, I could never do that. And then we do a little bit of training and they find they can. One thing to keep in mind is that Excel formulas and functions are not one monolithic thing. There are simple ones, more complex ones, really, really hard ones. And so you can start easing in by learning some easy ones and go from there. Now, when people have asked me why they should learn it, I have given various reasons. And I'm pulling those reasons together in this video to tell you some of the reasons why you might want to consider it if you haven't already. Or if you have learned them, why you might want to learn even more than you already have. So let's plunge in. Number one, formulas can save you a lot of time. I have run into some people over the years who have done things old school, and they've had reports or data that they had to compile, and they did it manually using paper and pen, or they have typed in the data. But when it came to figuring out the statistics or the data about their numbers, then they've done it by hand, and they have just spent hours. And Excel formulas and functions require you to create it once, but then once you have, you can copy it to all of the other data sets that it applies to, and you can do it in seconds instead of hours. And so it really can save you a lot of time if you do with that kind of data. Now, another reason why you should learn Excel functions and formulas is that formulas are important to a lot of jobs. There's been research that has shown that computer skills are important, and not just for analytic jobs, but for jobs which traditionally didn't necessarily have to learn a lot of different software programs. There is a recent study that shows that not only are digital skills required for the vast majority, or 82% of high-paying jobs, but for workers without college degrees. So it's not just for those people who have gone to college and gone on to corporate jobs, but for jobs where people have graduated with a high school degree and are trying to move up in their careers. And I have a blog post that goes along with this video, and I will post a link in the description below, and there'll be a link to that research study that I just quoted from. So that's another reason. Now, another one is that formulas vastly simplify complex calculations. I've had people who, they have known how to add up a column in numbers and that's it. But I've said, well, what if you want to add up numbers based on criteria? Like, for example, you want to add up the numbers associated with a certain employee or a certain category of product. Or what if you want to add up everything that falls over a certain threshold or under that threshold? And they thought about it, and they obviously came up with examples in their own mind of how they could apply that. And so they've gone on to learn sum if, count if, even average if sometimes. And so that is an example of people who knew one very simple Excel function application within Excel, but then they got on to learn more, and it has helped them in their jobs. Another reason to learn Excel formulas and functions is that it automates calculations. One of the great things about Excel formulas and functions is once you have them in your spreadsheet using cell references, referring to the cells in which the numbers appear, not only will it automatically do the calculations, but if those numbers change, then they automatically change the results of the formula. You don't even have to go in and recalculate. It just does it automatically. Another reason to learn Excel formulas and functions is that it helps you design better spreadsheets. If you design your data around the assumption that you are going to be using formulas and function to analyze that data, then you almost automatically build better spreadsheets that other people can use and follow and get some value out of. So even if you're just showing your work to your manager, using formulas and functions can help you create better sets of data in your spreadsheets. It also can help you translate your vision into reality. Have you ever done just sort of an analysis just off the top of your head and you've known you were right, but you couldn't explain to other people why you were right or how you came to the conclusion you did? Well, Excel formulas and functions can help you step through that logic so that you can not only verify your own assumptions for yourself, but explain it to other people. Excel formulas and functions can also help you create visual data. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And with Excel, often a picture of the data can help convince people of what the data says more than actually just looking at the numbers. And some of the examples of those are using pivot tables that are based on formulas and functions. There can be charts, bar charts and line charts and pie charts and all those different kinds of charts that create a literal picture of your data so that people can just glance at it and get the point. Also, Excel helps you be exceptional at your job. A lot of people never learn formulas and functions, or if they do, they're very, very, very basic. And so learning Excel formulas and functions, even if you only go up to an intermediate level, can set you apart from other people and not only prove that you're good at your job, but make you seem more indispensable. And that's always a good thing. Once you're good at your job and people think that you know what you're doing because you know formulas and functions and you use them and you design better spreadsheets and you turn data into pictures, then that can lead to better solutions for things that you recommend in your job, for your team who has to make decisions and act on them, for your manager who has to make recommendations up the chain of command. There's all kinds of places where better decisions can be made because of the data that is turned into actionable data points that everyone can agree on and act on. Finally, if you've ever tried to design dashboards, you cannot do it without Excel formulas and functions because dashboards give an overview of the results. And often those come from formulas and functions. You can't just include all the data. You have to have a bottom line. And that is often comes from formulas and functions. So those are some of the reasons why Excel formulas and functions are so important. And what I would suggest is that you think about where you are with formulas and functions. If you've never used them, then you might want to learn the basics. If you've learned the basics, then you might want to do some Google searches or watch some of my videos to find out what some of the most useful functions beyond what you've already learned are. And if you're doing pretty well, then you might look at more advanced applications of formulas and functions and make yourself both indispensable in your job and give you a basis for making arguments for the convictions that you have about what's going on in your organization. I hope this helps. And if you want to know more about formulas and functions, I will link to the Excel formulas and functions playlist that I have on this channel. You have a good day.